Good morning, students. Yesterday we were discussing about meaning of lease financing and the types of lease financing. Today we are going to talking about importance, advantages and disadvantages of lease financing. Firstly, what is lease financing? Lease financing is a contractual agreement between the owner of the asset and the user of the asset, whereby the owner permits the user to use the asset on the payment of periodical amount, which is in the form of lease rent for a specific period of time. Actually, the user of the asset is known as lessee and the owner of the asset is known as lessor, and the periodical payment is known as lease rent. Then, what are the importance of lease financing in the business organization? The following words we can explain the importance of lease financing. Firstly, lease finance is easy to get than getting loan for buying all fixed assets. That means there is no legal procedure for getting lease finance from the financial institutions or specialized institution. Second one, monthly rent payment for lease finance will be operating expense. It will be allowed to deduct total income, so company can get tax benefit in lease financing. That means in the case of lease financing, the company can enjoy tax benefits. Third one, it can show as invisible debt of company out of its balance sheet. You can show lease finance in the footnote of the balance sheet if you did contract directly with the owner of the assets. Next one of the major important point is that it is more flexible way of finance. You can fix your need of asset and get it on lease through the lease financing. Then last one, a study from the International Financial Corporation has revealed that 30% of the total share of lease financing as investment of fixed asset is of developed economy and now 50% of developing country. Then next, advantages of lease financing. Despite the fact that leasing is generally more expensive for the lessee and involve a high risk for the lessor, it is an arrangement whereby both lessee and lessor stand to gain. There are various considerations that make lending attractive for both the lessee as well as the lessor. Firstly, we are discussing about the advantages of leasing to the lessee. First one, avoidance of initial cash outlay. Leasing enables a firm to acquire the use of an asset without making capital investment in buying the asset. Second one, minimum delay. Usually, leasing companies take much lesser time in processing the lease proposal as compared to the lengthy procedure involved in the term loan financing. Thus, a firm can avoid delay in the use of an asset by taking it on lease. Third one, easy source of finance. Leasing provides one of the easiest source of finance. It does not require any mortgage of the asset because the ownership of the leased asset remains with the lessor and is not transferred to the lessee. Next, shifting the risk of obsolescence. In the present era of rapid changing technology, a firm has to bear the risk of obsolescence if it purchases the asset. The firm can easily shift this risk upon the lessor by acquiring the use of the asset on lease rather than buying the same. Then next, enhanced liquidity. Sale and leaseback arrangement enables a firm to improve its liquidity position by realizing cash from the sale of the fixed asset and retaining the economic use of the same. Next one, conserving borrowing capacity. Leasing is a form of financing that does not reduce or affect the borrowing capacity of the lessee firm. It is considered to be a hidden from form of debt which does not appear as a liability in the balance sheet of the lessee. Next, tax planning and differential tax advantages. As lessee rental are considered as the revenue expense while determining taxable profit, it is advantageous for the lessee in minimizing tax liability. Next one, higher return on capital employed. Since the lessee acquires only the right to use the asset without owing it, such asset does not appear on the asset side of the balance sheet. Next, convenience and flexibility. Operating or service lease are usually cancelable, enabling the lessee firm to terminate the lease if it does not require the use of the asset anymore. Hence, it is very convenient and flexible mode of financing fixed assets. Last one, lesser administrative and maintenance cost. Under gross lease arrangement, the lessee can avail the specialized service of the lessor for maintenance of the asset leased. Even in the case of operating lease arrangement, there could be a provision of maintaining the asset by the lessor. Then next, advantages of the leasing to the lessor. Higher profit. First one, higher profit. The lessor acting prudentially can make high profit from leasing of the asset. The profit will take care of his cost of capital as well as the risk involved. Second one, tax benefit. The lessor, being the owner of the asset, can claim various tax benefits such as depreciation, investment allowance, etc. Third one, quick returns. The lessor get quick returns in the form of lease rental as compared to investment in other projects. Fourth one, increased sales. Lease financing through third parties has helped manufacturers to increase their sales. The lessor are also in a position to demand certain concessions from the manufacturers. These are the advantages of lease financing to the lessee and the lessor. Then next one, disadvantages of lease financing. Firstly, we are talking about the disadvantages of leasing for the lessee. First one, higher cost. The lease rental includes a margin for the lessor as also the cost of risk of obsolescence. It is thus regarded as a form of financing at a higher cost. Second one, loss of moratorium period. The lease rental do not take care of gestation period. It is usually take a long time before the asset generates funds to pay it back. Next, risk of being deprived of the use of asset. The lessee may deprived of the use of asset due to the deterioration in the financial position of the lessor or winding up of the leasing company. Next, no alteration or change in asset. As the lessee is not the owner of the asset, he cannot make any substantial change in the asset. Contrary to it, in the case of outright purchase, the buyer can modify or alter the asset to increase its utility. Then fifth one, loss of ownership incentives. There are certain advantages of owning the asset such as depreciation and investment allowance. In the case of lease, the lessee is not entitled to such benefits. Then penalties on termination of lease. The lessee is usually required to pay certain penalties if he terminates the lease before the expiry of the lease period. Then last one, loss of salvage value of the asset. An asset generally has certain salvage value at the expiry of the useful life. As the lessee does not become the owner of the asset, he cannot realize the salvage value at the expiry of the lease. Rather, he has to return the asset to the lessor. Then next, disadvantages of the leasing for the lessor. First one, high risk of obsolescence. The lessor has to bear the risk of obsolescence, especially in the present era of rapid technological changes. Second one, competitive market. As a number of leasing companies have emerged in recent years in India, the lessor has to face the tough competitions from Indian as well as foreign companies. Third one, price level changes. In spite of the increases in price of the asset due to inflation, the lessor gets only fixed rental based on the previous cost. Next one, management of cash flows. The success of a leasing business depends to a large extent upon efficient use of cash flow, which are very difficult to manage because of unexpected market fluctuations. Then fifth one, increased cost due to loss of user benefits. The lessor is not entitled to certain benefit available to buyers who are actually users of the assets such as concession in sales tax, duties, etc. The last one, long-term investment. It is usually take a long time to recover the cost of the lessor in the capital outlay through lease rental. These are the disadvantages of leasing for the lessor. Okay, today we are discussing about importance of lease financing, advantages and disadvantages of lease financing. Thank you.